Okay, we got a lot of questions about people who experience inconsistent contact and people who are trying to figure out trajectory or how to hit it higher or lower. So ultimately, inconsistent contact is what we're going to help you with. So Ben, when folks come here to B-Golf, they experience these problems, what do you do?
I think it's always important to start by, you have to check back in with the free swinging motion for those of you at home that remember that, right? So if you're not swinging freely, that's probably causing a majority of your issues at home, right? So it's always the first place that we would start together.
Very good. So the free swinging motion?
Yep.
And then we spoke about gravity, momentum, rotation, or just the mantras of swinging freely. So let's say that somebody is doing this, and then they're like, you can see that they're swinging freely, then where would you go?
Well, you got to start training, right? So there is no secret sauce per se, right? You got to actually go do the work. So one of the things that we would have you start with is doing some divot work, right? So part of striking it solid is getting the divot in the appropriate place. So Chad, what are some ways or some things that you can maybe walk me through here really quick just to help me with my divot?
Yeah, so once you're swinging freely, if that divot isn't organized, you're going to experience inconsistent contact. That's just going to be the way it is. So as far as the divot is concerned, what I would have you do is as you're swinging, first things first, I would start to pay attention to where that club is interacting with the ground. So give us 2 or 3. Very good. So now in that case, if you find out that the club is hitting the ground in different spots, you're going to need to do some training here, right? Or some of you might find out that the club doesn't hit the ground at all, in which case that would be thin, right? So if you just wanted to make sure that you wanted to hit the ground, what would you focus on? How would you go about doing that?
I'd focus on hitting the damn ground is what I'd focus on.
And
it's relatively simple.
Right.
I know it sounds funny, right? But honestly, that's what I would focus on.
That's job one, is you have to get this club to interact with the ground what we would call appropriately. So now to make solid contact with your irons and wedges, we know the divot needs to be on the target side of the ball. So if I told Ben here, I'll give you $1 million, world peace, lotto money, anything you want, if you only interact with the ground up there without me telling him how, show us what that would look like. Very good. So in that case, you were trying to
interact with the ground in front.
Very good. So we don't want to say it's that simple, but you definitely got to start there. You definitely got to start there. So now when the ball's in the way, we want to clean up the contact. Would you do that same thing when the ball was in the way? Just try to hit the ground up there?
Yeah, but I wouldn't be focusing on the ball, right? So I think the trick is, at this point in time, I can physically do it. So I just demonstrated to Chad, like, yes, I can hit the ground somewhere in front of the golf ball, right? But now, typically what we see is as soon as we introduce the white golf ball, right, what does everyone start focusing on?
The ball.
The damn ball, right? But we can't focus on the ball. That's not what made this come to life. What made this thing come to life is I was focusing my attention forward and trying to take a deep divot. So I need to keep my attention on that exact same thing, because if I don't, it's not going to work, or the ball's not going to respond the way I want it to.
Very good. So now with the ball in the way, he's going to focus on where the club is interacting with the ground. Is that true?
Yes. So I'm going to focus on getting the club to interact with the turf somewhere up in here.